Dimitris received the news with mixed emotions. His grandmother, a woman he barely knew, had passed away. He was now the sole heir to her estate in a remote village nestled deep in the Grecian countryside. It was a place he had only visited once as a child, a fleeting memory of cobblestone streets and watchful eyes. Still, an inheritance was an inheritance. Dimitris packed his meager belongings, a sense of foreboding settling in his gut as he embarked on the journey to his past. The journey was long and arduous. The bus rattled along winding roads, each turn taking him further away from the familiar bustle of Athens. The landscape outside his window morphed into a tapestry of rolling hills and shadowed valleys. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of blood orange and bruised purple, Dimitris felt a shiver course down his spine. He was alone, truly alone, for the first time in his life. As the bus sputtered to a stop in the village square, Dimitris was greeted by an almost unsettling silence. Gone were the sounds of city life he was accustomed to. There was no hum of traffic, no distant sirens, no murmur of conversation, just a heavy, oppressive quiet that seemed to press in on him from all sides. It was the silence of a place long forgotten, a silence that seemed to hold its breath, waiting. Don't forget to join our YouTube channel and subscribe, please. The village was a labyrinth of narrow cobbled streets, the buildings huddled together as if seeking comfort from the encroaching darkness. The air hung heavy with the scent of damp earth and wood smoke. Stray dogs slunk through the shadows, their eyes gleaming with a feral hunger. Dimitris tightened his grip on his bag, his footsteps echoing eerily in the stillness as he made his way to his grandmother's house. The house loomed at the edge of the village, a forbidding silhouette against the darkening sky. It was a two-story structure, its once bright paint now faded and peeling. The windows were dark, like empty eyes staring out at him. The garden, once a source of pride for his grandmother, was now overgrown and wild, a tangle of thorns and weeds. As Dimitris pushed open the creaking gate, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was stepping into a nightmare. The interior of the house was dark and dusty, the air thick with the smell of decay. Cobwebs hung from every corner and the furniture was draped in white sheets, giving the rooms a spectral appearance. Dimitris found his grandmother's will on a small table in the living room, covered in a thick layer of dust. As he read through the legal jargon, a sense of unease settled over him. The house was his now, this place of shadows and silence. He was bound to it, tethered to a past he never knew. The days that followed were a blur of unpacking and exploring. Dimitris tried to familiarize himself with his new surroundings, but the village remained an enigma, its inhabitants distant and wary. They spoke in hushed tones, their eyes darting nervously towards the house at the edge of the village. When Dimitris tried to engage them in conversation, they would only shake their heads and mumble apologies before hurrying away. He soon realized that the village was a place of secrets, bound by a shared history that he was not privy to. There were whispers in the air, carried on the wind, whispers of strange happenings and ancient curses. Dimitris tried to ignore them, to dismiss them as mere superstition. But the oppressive atmosphere of the village wormed its way into his bones. One evening, as Dimitris sat by the window, watching the sun set over the village, he heard a noise. It was a soft sound, almost inaudible at first, like someone sighing. He paused, holding his breath, listening intently. There it was again, a low moan that seemed to emanate from the walls themselves. He rose from his chair, his heart pounding in his chest. The house was alive, he realized, its silence a living, breathing thing. The silence, once merely unsettling, now became unbearable. It pressed in on Dimitris, suffocating him, amplifying every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of leaves against the window pane. He found himself talking out loud just to break the silence. his voice sounding alien and echoing in the empty rooms. He would leave the radio on, but even the cheerful chatter of the announcers couldn't penetrate the oppressive stillness that clung to the house. Sleep offered little respite. His dreams were haunted by the whispers he heard in the village, by the feeling of being watched by unseen eyes. He would wake in the dead of night, his heart racing, the silence pressing down on him like a physical weight. He was trapped, he realized, not just in the house, but in the silence itself. One afternoon, as Dimitris tried to distract himself with a book, he heard a crash from downstairs. He froze, his blood turning to ice. The sound was unmistakable, the distinct shattering of glass. He listened intently, but the silence held its breath, offering no further clues. A wave of dizziness washed over him. He knew with chilling certainty that he was not alone in the house. Don't forget to join our YouTube channel and subscribe, please.